Tania Inadeska Beauty Salon es el referente de glamour latino en Newark. Estilistas reconocidas ofrecen servicios de corte, color y peinado. Trato completamente individualizado para cada cliente. Métodos de visión única de las propiedades naturales de tu pelo. También contamos con exclusivos productos y líneas de alta calidad y de marcas ganadoras internacionales. Aquí tú eres una auténtica estrella. Tania Inadeska Beauty Salon. Belleza para tus 5 sentidos.
Consolidada como una de las empresas más influyentes del mercado, K&G Agency Solutions te ofrece todas las alternativas que necesitas para empezar tu propio negocio.
K&G Agency Solutions tiene el asesoramiento de coaching empresarial para satisfacer las necesidades de tus sueños de negocios, desde cómo empezar tu negocio hasta la gestión y el desarrollo del capital humano. Aquí tienes exactamente lo que necesitas para hacer tu negocio una realidad. K&G te da la funcionalidad integrada y las soluciones para que empieces ya a tener éxito.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mira la Noticia. Lily Sanchez-Ruiz once again, and this important encounter and bridge of culture between you and the community. Buenas noches a todos quienes nos ven esta noche transmitiendo en inglés, ya que tenemos dos invitados importantes que estarán hablando en inglés, pero no se preocupen porque los subtítulos vienen una vez que terminemos de poner el programa en vivo. Estará también en YouTube para que todos puedan aprovechar de la información. So, if you are watching this show, you're not in the wrong show. You are in Mira la Noticia, and Lily Sanchez-Ruiz is with all formality this evening because we have very, very important guests that are going to talk to us a little bit about what is important to our community in particular. We are going to talk about the almost secret for the community at large, Title V, and how this grant, how these funds that the government has given to community colleges and to colleges around the nation is actually opening doors and windows for more Hispanos, para más Latinos, go to college and make the dream of going to college a reality. So this evening, I have somebody from two opposite sides of the country that are going to actually talk to us about Title V, what does it mean, and how it can make you, Latino, a probable college student like this, so that you can finally conquer your dreams of becoming a professional within the context of the United States of America. This evening, I have Tammy Napiontek. She has worked in higher education for 13 years in grants. She began her career at Peninsula College serving underserved student populations. She has worked with programs that are like very well known to me, such as TRIO programs. She became the director of college access at TRIO. Tammy produced initiatives for limited income first generation underrepresented students to gain easier access to higher education, including self-directed placement, streamlined onboarding, and connection to support programs. Tammy currently, ladies and gentlemen, serves as the director of Title V grants at Big Bend Community College, a Hispanic serving institution. Tammy oversees the expanding Equitably Education E3 grant. The grant will fund the development of a Bachelor's of Applied Science in Applied Management, a campus internet capacity expansion to utilize e-learning for course and student services, deliver instructional materials and technology for students. Wow. So they're going to move from an associate's degree to a bachelor's degree. That is awesome. Tammy is most proud of her advocacy work locally and in Washington, D.C., bringing the voices of the students to the Hill to educate and ask for what they need. Tammy's education includes an Associate's of Arts from Peninsula College, a bachelor's degree in K-12, and a master's degree in education from City University. Currently, she is a doctoral student, soon to be Dr. Tammy, or as I shall say, Dr. Napiontek, because you know that we don't use titles with first names, ladies and gentlemen. First rule of language on ESL, okay? So currently, she is a doctoral student with New Jersey City University, University's Community College Leadership Program. Research interests include why Hispanics and other underrepresented students don't transfer at the same rate as other students. How to bring resources to students living in education and deserts, how successful onboarding processes of faculty, staff, and student improve student outcomes, and the impacts of imposter syndrome on students and as students evolve into employees. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome Tammy Napionek. I know that I'm destroying it, from Big Bend Community College. Tammy, good evening. It is a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Very nice to meet you.
It's nice meeting you too. And of course, Tammy is going to talk to us about Title V on that side of the United States of America. And we also have a great friend of our community in the tri-state area. I'm talking about New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. And that is our good friend, Dr. Lester Sandres Rapalo, which right now is one of the VPs at the Bronx Community College. And I'm not going to read his biography because it's a little too large for me. I consider him a friend of the community, and especially now that he has made the leap between New Jersey. He used to be the highest ranking executive position Latino in a community college that was actually 60% Latino, the first one, by the way. Historically, never ever any Latino occupied that position. So he's definitely a groundbreaker, and he's definitely making a precedent where he goes. Of course, New York didn't want to not have him. New York didn't want to leave us with that talent because they're always, like importing our talent. And they decided to hire him at Bronx Community College, which is the consortium for CUNY. And he is this evening with us. Dr. Rapalo, what an honor to have you here tonight, sir.
Thank you so much, Lily. And thank you, Tammy, for allowing me to be here today in your show, Lily. Looking forward to the discussion for, as you mentioned it, to improve the fabric of America, which is to invest in our human capital. So thank you for allowing me to be here tonight.
It's certainly a pleasure. And let's go straight to the point because, time runs out. And I want to make sure that this secret that is an open secret, which everybody seems to know, but nobody seems to know, needs to actually be put in places like this platform that we're going to share with everybody so that common people like me, like just average people, understand what do we mean when we talk about Title V? Because I know that when Tammy talks, when Dr. Rapolo talks, when other very technical and very literate people speak on different type of medias and on different TV channels, they talk about Title V and they talk about all these vocabularies and words that sometimes mean a lot, but really don't reach the center of the communities that we're trying to reach, just because sometimes we don't bring it down to my level, which is the average level. So I want to ask you both to define Title V, please, in the most simplest terms that you can, so that our Latinos, our Hispanics, our families that are actually listening can understand. But this is what I want you to do. People from the 24 different countries that are watching us, and especially people from the 50 different states that are always reaching out to me for, knowing about more opportunities and learning about how to get scholarships. And listen to me, watch this show, and if you understand English, translate it to the people that speak Spanish that are in your family that are waiting for an opportunity, that do not know anything about Title V. And I know that you might have heard about Title V, but you don't know the definition. So I'm going to ask our guests to please give us a definition of what Title V means, and especially what Title V means for each one of their colleges. Let's start with the ladies first.
So Title V is a federally funded grant that is awarded to Hispanically serving institutions, or those rather that are designated as HSIs. So that means more than 25% of their population are Hispanic students. It is awarded every 5 years, and it is a highly competitive grant process. Our institution has been very fortunate in having many Title V grants in the past, but the the whole idea of Title V is really the lasting institutional impact that it would have on students. And that actually is how our grants are measured. So we set objectives on increasing the access, improving the transfer rate, but all with the idea of that being significant to low-income and Hispanic students.
So bringing it in more even simplified terms, it means that this is money that comes from the government to community colleges that fulfill certain criteria and requirements. And once they get this money that they won for the college, you can invest it in programs so that more Latino families that probably don't have money to go to college can get to go to college via this grant. It's like this money that is allocated on the college so that they can pay for programs so that more Latinos can actually apply to the college and can actually enter the college. Am I saying this correctly, Dr. Rapalo?
Yes, Lily, and thank you, Tammy, for your very concise definition of Title V. You hit the nail in the head. And Lily, just to add more on what our colleague mentioned, is that it helps to change and improve the life of Latino students in all the HSI institutions that are blessed, if you will, to obtain this grant. It's a very, very coveted grant. A lot of colleges throughout the United States apply, and there are very few that actually end up getting it. And it's very, very competitive to get. For Bronx Community College at the City University of New York, we're very thrilled to get one. And obviously, the amount of the grant that we got is as a $5 million grant. And that means that every year we have to expend $1 million from this grant. Obviously, there's metrics, there's data, there's objectives that we have to meet in guidance through the government, and we have to make sure that we abide and we comply with those directives. But as you mentioned it, the idea is to improve or enhance programs and processes that we already have on the college that will help to retain and help Latinos to graduate and get into the finish line. One of the problems that we face in community is the lack of enrollment of the Latino students in some way, and also the retention. How many do actually stay in the college and graduate? So through this grant, to the Title V grant, it will provide guidance and processes to help students to actually finish the degree, complete the degree, and transfer to a four-year institution. We will create in the BCC, we will create guidance to help students to become more financial literate, right? We understand that, unfortunately, as you mentioned, and a lot of our students do not understand the mechanism that embodies what it is to go to college for many reasons. They come from household incomes that, quite frankly, don't have the resources, and they think that that college is so far away and out of reach. One, two, unfortunately, their parents didn't have the privilege to be educated in the United States. And several of them have education back in their homelands, but they don't understand how to navigate the system in the United States. And sometimes for not having that knowledge, they lack of funding, because they know, as you mentioned, that the funds are there, they're available, but students have to come to the college and look for them and seek for them. And obviously that's the role of our community college at BCC, to help students to graduate and get into the finish line, which is to graduate and then transfer to a four-year institution.
Dr. Rapalo, you say something very true. Title V changes the life of the students, and it has certainly changed the life of Bronx Community College too, because I understand that you just got it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that a lot of more people not only going to be able to use this program to enter college, yes, but also to stay in college, which is one of the most difficult parts. And that's why I want to jump to Tammy and kind of like, because her college and her experiences alone Title V for many years. So she is definitely, she already has a history, a precedent. She knows already very well the metrics and the data. Tammy, when we are talking about Title V, and we specifically are talking about help to enter college and help to stay in college, what kind of support or programs specifically are we speaking about?
So one of the examples from our institution is we spent a lot of time in the last couple of years looking at the steps for students to get started and how clear is that process really for them, considering the language that we use.
So when you mean steps to get started, you mean steps to get started as in to like apply to college?
Exactly.
It is as early as that, or it's already once they're already in college?
No, it's as early as that. So really it's how do you apply? What's when in the process do you apply for financial aid, and what does that look like? What are the things that you need to know to be prepared for that? How do you register for classes? Where do you buy your books? As simple as breaking down those systems so that there really isn't, a student isn't left wondering what's next, what am I missing? That was something that we have worked really hard on in our institution over the last several years. And then taking that a step forward, the next step forward with, so now that you're here, what do you need to know to make it to your second quarter, and then to your third quarter, and so on and so forth, and involving students in that process. So they're the ones who can tell us directly what we're missing and what would make that process easier for them.
So as probably both of you know, I have an outreach with the community, with the Latino community in different places, not only here in the tri-state area, but also in other countries. These are people that are like actively coming to the United States or planning to come, or that is just the process. And sometimes, of course, we develop these relationships where we have these conversations. And I think that pretty much the conversation of those who are reaching 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade is, what am I going to do with my son? What am I going to do with my daughter? It's about to graduate high school. What comes after that? Right? For many of the Latino families, at least here in the tri-state area, we have the challenge that a lot of them come with debt. A lot of come from countries where are tremendously, like difficult to like make up for the monies that they have to send to their families. So of course, parents are pressured and are pressuring their kids to actually try to finish high school, because it's a law in the United States. It's not like over here in the United States, it's not like in our countries. It is an option to go to school. Okay. At least it's not as I would say as regulated as it is in the United States. In the United States, you don't send your kids to college and you'll have a problem with the government. They'll come knocking on your door and saying why your kids are not going to school, regardless of what your status. So here, parents come with the expectation that we all come here so that we can get a job, pay our debts, and send money to our families. They're not thinking about college because they've never gone to college. They're not thinking about their kids perhaps improving their possibilities of getting a better job by having a university program. They're actually thinking, I mean, if we got to do this by law and you got to go to school, finish as quickly as you can so that you can get a job. Okay, that's one of the challenges. How do we engage these parents? How do we engage? What do we tell them? Okay, because first of all, they always ask me, yeah, but we don't have money to go to, to college, to go to a university. We barely have money to pay for rent. Imagine sending our kids to like college. No. Colleges are tremendously expensive. It is impossible for us to pay, for college. And we don't even speak the language. How are we going to go to college if we don't speak English? People that do not speak English don't go to college.
No.
What is the answer in your states for these families?
Lily, I'm glad that you brought up that issue, because it is an issue that not only Latino families face, but also families of color. Just to give you an idea of BCC, of the borough of New York, specifically Bronx, more than 70% of our students, to be exact, 77% of our students come from household income that are less than $15,000. So that puts the borough of the Bronx to be the third poorest borough in the nation of United States. So that is a very alarming. So what the President Thomas Sekenekbi, under the leadership of our first Latino Chancellor Felix Mato, fellow as we know him, it's to provide the mission to change that narrative and help to spread the word, to tell our families, whether they're Latinos, African Americans, first generation, second generation students that really want to change their life, to say, hey, come to CUNY, come to, in this particular case, come to Bronx Community College. We have programs that will help you, and if you qualified, and I gave you that data, a lot of them, most 9 out of 10, they qualify for assistant, either scholarship or assistant, or programs that we currently have. ASAP is one of them, BCC, that we provide them with textbooks, metro cards. Obviously, right now, due to the pandemic, they cannot. It's kind of hard right now to travel during in the train, but students have that option. We provide personalized advising, so we provide different mechanisms that will help students to come to the college, stay in college, graduate, and transfer to a 4-year institution. So I'm glad that you raised that point, because unfortunately, it is the lack of information. And one of the things that I'm sorry to push you on the spot in here, Lily. One of the things that you and I did when I was in New Jersey was what we call the La Mesa Redonda, the roundtable discussions. I think that a lot of VPs and presidents and deans, they have to do those. They have to connect more with the community, and go to those high school, do that community outreach, and educate. And I'm sorry if I sound too harsh, but to educate the families, and help them, guide them to understand what financial is, what a FAFSA form looks like, how to fill out the FAFSA form, what kind of scholarships, if any scholarships are available. And you and I know that there's hundreds of scholarships available, and how can we guide them through the process, that one, they have never been exposed, because as you mentioned, a lot of them come from many countries that, back in their countries, they did not have an education. So imagine navigating the waters in here and trying to send their kids to a college, so they don't understand. So it's our job, and our moral obligations, to help them to come to college. I mean, if you look at the data trends right now, we are so close to be the largest minority in this country, and yet if you look at the attainment of a college degree, we now where we want to be. So we have the power, the buying power, but when it comes to education, we lagging. We can do it better. Absolutely, we can do better. But if you look at the data of the growth and on the buying power of the products that we consume, and the education level that we have, we still need to. There's still a lot of room for improvement. So I think that it's our job, it's our moral obligation to connect with the communities, and educate and work with them and for them.
And I'm glad that you put me on the spot, Dr. Rapalo, because although it's kind of like a secret that is well known to so many people, for the past years, there's been people behind the scenes who have organized these, not only roundtables, but also these educational fairs that have covered issues that in many instances has informed entire communities about, like what happens if you don't speak the language and you want to go to college, or what happens if you do not speak the language and you decide not to go to college. What are going to be your losses? And I want to go to Tammy and ask her, Tammy, when we speak of a language, is one of the biggest barriers that we have. And I want to know, and I'm sure that the families that are listening want to know, does Title V cover any programs that prepare students? Because one of the problems that we have is, okay, nobody have told me that college is what college is in the United States. But say that for some reason I entertain the idea of we're going to that weird place that is called college, that they say that if I go and I do at least 2 years, I'm going to make at least $10,000 more than what I would make if I go directly to go look for a job straight from high school. Okay, but are they going to teach me English? Will they give me a certificate? Are they going to come to my house? Are they going to pay for my bills? What does it mean? Can a person that only speaks Spanish go to a college or apply? How do I apply? Do they have an application in Spanish, for example? Could you give me some answers to those questions?
Of course, yeah. Those are the same questions that we have been addressing at our institution. We do have an ESL program, and there are folks in that program that will then help students transition to college. Because it's not just simply putting the resource in front of the student. It really is helping them utilize the resource. So that ESL program then can prepare them to be educated in a college classroom. Well, right now in an online college classroom, and then when they're trying to navigate that system, to have resources that are translated in their language as well. So we have also been making sure that all of those resources are translated, like our online orientation, so parents can explore the online orientation as well, and access it in their language. And learn about the college that their student is going to attend, and what resources are available, so that they can also support their student in accessing those resources.
So now students know that they can have some resources. This is the next question. Okay, Miss, if you say they're going to college is good for my son, then I'm going to send them to college. So the kid is asking me, so what do I have to do? Okay, you have to do an application. Well, what is an application? Well, it's a form that you have to fill, and you can do it on internet. Oh, that's great. And then now you have to take a test. What do you mean I have to take a test? I have to take another test? But I already took like 1 million tests in high school. Yes, I know you took a lot of, like tests in high schools. How did you do? Not too great. I didn't understand really what was going on with them. And quite honestly, some of them were so long, like the SAT that took like 5 hours, that I did it for 20 minutes. I didn't understand anything. Then I just mark, and I didn't do anything. Oh, okay. So, well, in order for you to maybe improve your chances, you can come to community colleges, and we'll give you a more simplified test. It's still going to be 2 hours. It's not going to be 5 hours, but it's going to be targeted so that we can measure your English, and especially not only your English, but what you're missing in English, so that we can actually do something to help you strengthen those things that you need to work, your areas of development. And we also know what's great, or what are you at in mathematics, so that if you're very strong in mathematics, we can make it even stronger. Or if you are not as strong in math, we can actually give you classes so that you can finally kind of like grasp the terms, because maybe the English, Spanish language barrier is also affecting how you're understanding your mathematics test. Okay? But this is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
When they already get to college and to make the decision, which are in 12th grade, sometimes it's already too late. How are we infiltrating? From our Title V positions and our Title V, programs and outreach, how do we tackle down students that are before that? Because we need to get them at 10th grade. We need to get them at 11th grade. How do we not only develop the relationship with the community, the parent community, for that, high school population that are many Latinos and African Americans and et cetera, but also how do we offer them resources before they get to 12th grade, so that they can put a little bit more attention perhaps on how they're actually tackling the tests, or how we can help them prepare them for those tests.
Yeah. Lily, if you don't mind, Tammy, one of the things that we have at BCC, one of the initiatives, is under the leadership of Dean Bernard Gann. It's what we call it College Discovery. And basically what College Discovery does is exactly what you just explained it right now, Lily. We connect right now at BCC. College Discovery has a portfolio of over 60 different high schools within the area of the Bronx. And what we do is we send counselors. We do info sessions, not only in English, but also in those languages. Just to give you an idea how many languages we represent at BCC, we have over 100 languages in 40 different countries. So that is a lot of that gives you the breadth of diversity and multiculturalism that lives and breathes in a BCC. So, and we're very proud of it, and we need to acknowledge our student demographic and the resources that we need in order to attract them and encourage them to come to BCC. So College Discovery, what it does is that we connect with high schools in the area, and obviously right now because of COVID, we cannot physically go to these high schools, but we do online seminars right now. So we connect with the students and we tell them, hey, these are all the resources that we have at BCC. Come join us. And you hit the nail on the head. It has to start at that age. Now when they're ready to come to college, you have to tell them why it's important and what resources we have available at a college level, so they can start thinking and changing that mindset to say, hey, I can go to community college and then I can transfer to a four-year institution. But the work, as you mentioned, it has to start at an early age. Absolutely.
And Tommy, do you have something similar to College Discovery? Do you guys start early connecting with the parent community at the high schools or the high schools before they reach 12th grade, via Title V?
We do. We also go into the high schools and all their job fairs, all their career fairs, and so that we are present there and they're familiar. But there's also TRIO programs that are very active in high schools. There's AVID. I'm sure you're familiar with these as well, Dr. Raporlo.
Yeah.
And that are really kind of like the bridge to college. And fortunate enough, they often have like summer programs that take place on these college campuses. So of course, during COVID times, that has looked somewhat different, but still very integrated into our system so that they're familiar. And then always inviting families to participate in these events is really critical so that they feel comfortable with this decision and how it's going to impact their family. Food doesn't hurt either.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I also want to say that I really see dual enrollment as onboarding into college. So something that we are negotiating is looking at how we can expand the eligibility requirements for students so more students have access to these dual enrollment programs.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to perhaps put you both on the spot, which is my specialty, and forgive me for this. I tend to be a little bit incisive when it comes down to these issues. So we're talking about people that, or students, or Latinos, or Hispanics that have a social security number or like are documented. We're not talking about undocumented students here.
So dual enrollment, undocumented students are eligible for that as well. We call it Running Start in Washington State. And they are eligible to participate in that program. Really any dual enrollment program, it doesn't matter your status. And then also in Washington State, we have what's called WAFSFA. So there's FAFSA, and then now there's WAFSFA. But it's state aid for students who are undocumented, so that they can apply for that and receive aid to go to college.
Yeah, I do, Lily. I'm glad that you mentioned that. And I want to say this, and I want to, when you make the translation to make it loud and clear, at CUNY, just like a Big Bend Community College, we do not turn students away because of their legal status or their current legal status, whether they are DACA recipient, whether they are working right now to their status is unknown, whether they're just arrived. We do not look at that. We just want them to come, and we offer them the same treatment that we would treat and we will provide to all the Americans, citizens, at least in BCC and CUNY. And one of the things that I'm very proud to say it is that, because as you know, Lily and Tammy, I have the pleasure to work with Dr. McMenamin, and that was one of the beauty of working at Union County College as well, that we never turn down any student, regardless of their legal status, away. And I want to make sure that we convey the message, or I convey the message loud and clear, that we have the resources available for them, and we want them to come. We're here for them to help them. And I know that a lot of times the uncertainty and the fear factor, because of the inflammatory rhetorics that is happening in some politics area or arena, I don't want them to feel discouraged for that. At BCC and in CUNY, we build walls. We do not do that. We build bridges, and that's the model that I live by and I continue to work for.
And let us be, as you said, Dr. Rapalo, loud and clear. And I want you to know that this is information that perhaps I might have in my hands, but I want to make sure that it is validated by
Yes.
you, because this is something that we are always talking in our, like, educational forums. And as you might know or might not know, you have your roundtables and you have your programs and you have your trios and you have your abbots and you have all these wonderful initiatives. And then there's the informal initiative, which is parents meet with me or people that they trust, that they're not going to call La Migra, or that they can actually trust, because they say, yeah, but if I speak to an officer of the college and I say something wrong, that might affect my child, like, negatively. Because unfortunately, unless this is the reality, many times our
Yeah.
students, and I am not talking only about Hispanic students, I'm talking about Eastern European, I'm talking about Asian students, I'm talking about people from the African diaspora. I'm not talking about only African Americans. I'm talking about people from the African diaspora have gone to college, and sometimes asking the wrong questions has had a halo effect that has turned out to be tremendously negative for them. And that is the reality. And I don't want to pull statistics and demographics. You know that I am very good at that. I'm a very good researcher, and trust me, don't think that you came here and I don't know anything about your community colleges and what are the issues specifically in the community surrounding them. I know them very well. But I don't want to spend time talking about that. What I want to spend time talking about is there are meetings that we have with parents where they don't want to meet with the officers of the colleges because they are afraid, and they don't want to go to the trio programs or to the parents meetings because they are afraid. And we have to open up channels. And Dr. Rapalo and I had the opportunity to join a permanent table of education for immigrants that it's unfortunately still in existence in New Jersey, where we actually accumulated people, and people from New York were coming, people from Pennsylvania, from Connecticut. You're a witness, Dr. Rapalo, coming from everywhere, because what we did is we did safe fairs, educational fairs, where people like me or people like average people that they trust in the community. That's why, like, also activism and like people that they trust, people that are going to talk, that are going to be the mediators between the community and the community colleges or the colleges, are important agents of spreading and of validating and legitimizing these type of experiences. Okay, so they come to me, they don't go to these meetings and they say, should I talk to this person? Is it really that way? Or even students that have heard us talking, and they have heard even presidents of colleges reassuring them that they have all the guarantees, that because they are the guarantors of their rights, of their constitutional rights of going to college, regardless of what your status, okay? And still they have the fear, and they're going to come to somebody like me or somebody similar like me and say, should I go? Should I ask? That's why it is great that you mentioned putting me on the spot, Dr. Rapalo, because I want to put you both on the spot.
Okay.
I've been talking, I was just talking with a group of counselors, guidance counselors of high schools, not only here in New Jersey, also in West New York, also in the closer part to New Jersey of New York, sometimes way to the other side, okay? We just had that discussion like a program ago, and they were telling me that we're still with the same issues. Parents are not only now afraid of La Migra and undocumented and what's happening in the country and the political, thing, but COVID is a huge issue.
Yeah.
So how do we do it? We do it like we're doing it right now. We do an educational fair where not only New York Bronx Community College, participates, where Washington State participates, where a couple of us participate, and we validate it by like doing this, communicating and being the mediators of that information. So I think that that's something that we definitely need to challenge ourselves to do.
Definitely.
Questions for you that are important. A college, not every college can be a Title V. In other words, not every college, and I'm talking about this because sometimes students go to college hearing us and they say, oh, Title V, and they think that automatically every single community college in New York, New Jersey, and Washington, they have Title V. That is not the reality.
Yeah.
Colleges have to be eligible for it. Tammy.
Yes, yeah, they do. 25%. Am I right in that number, Dr. Rapolo? I think it's 25% Hispanic student population, and then you apply for eligibility.
Absolutely, no, you're right. That is the right figure, 25%.
And in order for you to maintain it, you must keep at 25% or above to maintain your HSI, code, and therefore to be able to continue on fulfilling the requirements of the title itself.
Yeah, I believe it's yearly. You have to apply for eligibility and demonstrate.
Yeah. For the 5 years that you get the grant, you have to apply for yearly and comply with their guidance and directive. Yeah.
Well, here's the great news, and here's the challenge. In my near past life, I used to be a somehow known recruiter in the tri-state area that at the beginning was just hired as a ESL bilingual recruiter just for the Hispanics. And then all of a sudden, my African American students were seeing kind of like the service and the access and the information that I prepared, because I used to work with 10th, 11, and 12th grade. I was assigned first 6 colleges, then 26 colleges, then 70 colleges. And then it was New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and everybody else who invited me. Sometimes I was traveling to Baltimore and Washington and I don't know. Okay. So, but also I have a great relationship with the bodegueros in New York. I talk to the immigrant people that is almost hidden in Pennsylvania. I talk to El Bronx. I talk to Brooklyn. I talk to so many communities within the communities that are like niches around, and their kids are in high school, and they're asking me the very hard questions. I'm not in capacity to answer them at 100% liberty right now because I'm not affiliated to a college. But trust me, I keep myself very current, and I am very good friends and enemy with a lot of the secretaries of education, which is a good thing and a bad thing, but it is always a good thing, because whether they love me or they hate me, they know they need me. And that is wonderful, because they know that I'm going to take accurate information to the community. And the wonderful thing is that the community knows that we use this platform and so many others so that we can spread accurate information. And this is the reason why I'm not interviewing somebody related to Title V in Big Bend Community College. I'm talking to the director herself directly, okay? I'm talking to the big honcho right there. This is the reason why, bodegueros, amigos dominicanos, amigos sudamericanos, my friends from Haiti, my friends from Africa that are in the Bronx, I'm not talking to somebody that works in Grant 5 or in admissions or registration in Bronx Community College. I'm talking to one of the VPs, okay? I'm talking to one of the most important men within the community college in the Bronx, where you can actually knock the door, ask for them, and they will refer you to the person that is actually related to that program. And you have always this channel, and I'll be more than happy if you have a question for you, for your family, for your kid, just send me an email to this program, and I'll make sure that I'll pass it along like I've always done with all my friends in college. And that's something that it's tremendously important. We have a big challenge right now. The biggest question is, we're in the spring already, right? Or almost to start it. And what's happening? This COVID is starting again, at least for us here in New Jersey, and like for some parts of New York. I don't know what's going on in Washington, Tammy, but we, for a little bit, we're going hybrid, kind of like half time in classrooms and half time in the college, and then half time in the house. Now we're going back to like remote directly. How do we work this whole, like pre-programs and trios and like wonderful like Title V's remotely?
It's a great question, Lily. I think that's the challenge that a lot of systems and colleges are facing. We need people like you and Tommy and myself and our wonderful staff that are committed to deliver that same information in a digital form. At least for BCC, the only three programs that we have face to face currently are the nursing, RadTag, and MLT. So it's become obviously safety at CUNY and BCC is number one priority. And we shifted basically more than 97% of our portfolio face to face to an online modality. And that comes with also the services, financial aid, advising, recruitment. I mean, everything. We basically are replicating everything that we did once at a face to face capacity to an online modality. It has been, I'm sure Tammy you can allude to this too and agreed, it has been a wonderful experience but very challenging.
Yeah.
Very very challenging for many reasons. I mean, sometimes we take for granted the lack of internet connectivity that our students have, or the lack of proper training that a lot of our faculty have. Remember, we have faculty members that they're expert in their field, but they didn't feel comfortable teaching their classes fully online.
Yeah.
Whether that class was asynchronous or synchronous. So we're building the plane as we flying, providing online tutoring, providing workshop for faculty, train faculty members, train our workforce. And Lily, as you know, and Tammy, I think that at least for CUNY and BCC, we were already informed that the spring semester is going to be a reflection of what we're facing right now when it comes to teaching. We're going to be fully online or in distance modality, with the exception of those courses. And then, already have received questions regarding the summer. And what will the summer look like? What will the fall look like? Obviously, we're monitoring the situation, one day at a time. But for the spring, for sure, it's going to be fully online and providing those trainings for faculty, staff, and also students. We tend to forget that we need to train our students. A lot of our students don't feel comfortable. As crazy as it might sound, they don't feel. Remember, we have the beauty of the community college model is that we have students from all different age groups. So we tend to sometimes to not remember that, and we have students from all different age, and some of them feel more comfortable or have the technical skills to take the classes online, and other ones they feel very very at ease. They don't want to try it, and that's a reflection of enrollment. As you can see in the Northeast, enrollment is down tremendously. So it's a part of because of the COVID, part is because their parents are working at a job, part is fear, part is because they don't have access to internet. And one of the things that we did at CUNY is that we provided laptop loaners for students so they can, and also internet connectivity. We partnered with different vendors, and they were gracious enough to help us to get internet connection. But the program is still ongoing, so we want to make sure that we work with the elected officials and help them to understand that now more than ever we need the help. And I say that now more than ever, Lily and Tammy, because I truly believe that what the pandemic is going to do, we're not going to see it. We're seeing we're going to see two ripple effects. We're going to see the short ripple effect right now of our students stressing and not trying to juggle the education and the curriculum, but you're going to see the disparity and the huge gap of minority students and other ethnic groups in 10-20 years from now. I think at least that is my humble assessment. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think that we're going to see that huge negative effect in the near years to come.
Well, one of these studies is the Institute of Migration Policy Studies in Washington, D.C. did recently, and actually revealed some independent statistics. Mentioned that by year 2030, the amount of jobs that we're going to have in the United States due to COVID, due to all of these changes, due to the change of century, which forces us to think in a more transformative process of educating our students in a more close to home, in a more systematized, more reachable, more internet-based education, tells us that unfortunately, the best jobs are going to go to those who have more than a high school degree. That is the reality. And it's not going to be the majority. And I'm talking directly to Latinos and Hispanics, okay? Or Latinos or Hispanics, whatever you consider yourself. Some people have a thing for Hispanics. Sometimes we're not going to get into that discussion right now. But what I'm saying is by year 2030, it's just around the corner. The greater number of jobs that are going to be able to actually give you enough to have a better living condition will require more than a high school education. You need to have a certificate, you need to have an associate's degree, you need to have any type of degree so that you can get to a job where your living standard can be a possibility better than the one that you have right now. And unfortunately, about 50% of people that are coming from other countries, and I'm not saying only Latinos, I'm talking about Eastern Europeans, because señoras y señores, ladies and gentlemen, let me break it down to you. I know that you only think that Latinos and Hispanics are the only ones that come to the United States, but that's not the reality, okay? Just check your demographics. Just check the studies that, Washington and everybody else does. Check, please, like the United Nations, migration mobility, the reports of whatever institution or entity you feel that you trust the most. It will tell you exactly the same thing. Not only Latinos come to the major cities, especially to the cities that are welcoming to immigrants. Okay, not all of them are, but a lot of them have programs that are beneficial, including, for example, Washington State on the East, no, that has these incredible programs, Title V for Latinos, or like New York City, that it's open to so many alternatives, like New Jersey, that just created financial aid for undocumented students that fulfill certain requirements. I'm telling you this because I just spoke 3 weeks ago with people in Chile, in the south of Chile, Pitrufquén, and they asked me, once we arrive there, because people are coming, people are already traveling, okay? And that's a reality. People from Peru, people from Central America, you have no idea. People from the Dominican Republic. I mean, every day I get hit on my personal messenger, Facebook, or Educarte with, I cannot even tell you how many questions. What state do I go to? We're traveling already. To what state do I go to that are going to be like open, where we're going to be able to learn English and get a job, or like even go to college? Because yes, it is truth. A lot of immigrants might be uneducated, and mostly in the, I will say, in the Central American, Caribbean community, the statistics, not me, señores, okay? The statistics say that come a little bit less prepared educationally, that, for example, South American or Eastern European or Asians, they already come with either some college, or some preparation. Latinos that come from Central America to the Caribbean come sometimes, depending on the island and depending on the whatever, with less education and with less preparedness to begin a college career. So which means what? Those are the people that unfortunately, if they don't take action once they arrive to the United States and prepare themselves immediately to learn English in the college and to get like some kind of degree above as, secondary education, that's what it's called in Latin America, okay? Educación secundaria. If you don't get something, even a certificate, by 2030, unfortunately, you're going to be destined to all the jobs that remains for the poorest, less paid and more exploited workers in the United States, which is the farming industries, the cleaning industries, factories. And ladies and gentlemen, you can make a living, but $15,000 in a state where a gallon of milk costs about $6, and just calculate $6 per 7 days a week, and then calculate how much you have to pay for pasajes on the buses or like the subways or the trains or the whatever public transportation. Calculate how you're going to survive with that. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you that you're traveling, you that you're thinking, you that you already made up your mind that United States is still the land of opportunities, okay? If you do not get here with the intention to improve, to connect with a community college, to connect with a college, to connect with a certificate program that is going to teach you English in some kind of degree or some kind of profession, you're going to end up by 2030 within the same group of 50% of people that barely makes it hungrily in the United States.
Yeah.
Is Washington State, especially in the East, welcoming to our people that are already traveling here? And Dr. Rapolo, I have the same question for you. What is the situation with New York in regards of people that are immigrants that are already traveling, are already arriving, and are asking us, which state do I go to? Miss, please tell me, to which state do I go?
Correct. No, Lily. That's an excellent question. I think that you and I are very blessed to live in one of the most liberal states that are very aware of the power and the contribution in the fabric of diversity and how immigrants are changing and continue to change the narrative of the United States. Obviously, New York and New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, California, are states that are very open to the immigrants and they provide a lot of services. So obviously, I'm biased because I'm in New York,
Of course.
New Jersey, but I definitely encourage them that to look for states that are very open, not only to the immigrant policies, but other other initiatives and other cause, gender equity, member from the LGBT communities, and the list goes on and on. Black Lives Matter movement. So it's important for them to understand that diversity, inclusion, and equity, at least in these states that I mentioned, it's at the front and at the center. So I'm happy to say it and to live, and I definitely encourage them to look for those states.
Come to New York because it's a friendly state. How about Washington, especially around the east in Gloss Lake, Tammy?
So I live on a more conservative side of the state of Washington. The heavily populated areas, of course, are around Seattle, which is on the other side of the state from me. Very liberal area on the west side of the state. And I would say that there's a better understanding of more movement in that direction. I think the current political climate has helped us in that regard. Also, just our community college system, that is the DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion work is an incredible movement that is happening in all of our community colleges that's guided by our state board for community and technical colleges. So it is something that we are all working on. Always much more work to be done, but it is something that that we're all working collaboratively together to work on guided pathways and to look at ourselves more from an equity lens and see where our gaps are. And, of course, that's what drives our Title V grants, right? Is where we see those gaps.
Absolutely.
And one of the reasons why in this grant you saw that we're developing a Bachelor's of Applied Science and Applied Management.
Believe it or not, you stole the thought from my mind, because we've spoken so far with Dr. Rapolo and you about bringing students to the college, and we mentioned at the beginning that the challenges that they have is not only to enter, especially to stay. And one of the biggest problems that we have to stay in college, and I'm saying this because I should have finished my college degree in 4 years, but I did it in 7. Okay. And that was because I didn't speak English. I didn't have the guidance. There was no such a programs as the ones that we have right now, like a million years ago when I went to college. Okay. But mentioning about staying, sometimes you begin with just the intention of going to a community college to learn English. That's all you want. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
I went to a community college because I wanted to have the ESL certificate. That's it. And then the community college made me aware that I can do the ESL certificate and I can do also a parallel certificate to that. with the same practical, like practically with the same credits. And I was like, really?
Mhm.
After that, they made me aware that if I finished that certificate, which was, I think, 18 credits, I don't remember now, it's been so long. With those, if I wanted to stay and do like one step more, those 18 credits could be counted towards the 60 credits that you need to graduate with a college degree.
Mhm.
And I was like, really? So wait a minute, I did my math. 60 minus 18 that I already do and whatever. Wait a minute, that's like 42 credits. And
Mhm.
this 12 is 12 credits per semester. And somehow, like, you guys are going to help me with some money or whatever. Well, if your grades are this much and this much, we can offer you this much. And also, we can give you tutoring. What do
Mhm.
you mean tutoring? That means, my friend, that if you enroll in college, helping you stay in college means also that we're going to set 3 layers of tutoring for you. You're going to be tutored probably by your ESL program. That's the first layer. You're going to be tutored by the second layer, which is the college itself has a tutor. Most colleges, most community colleges have tutoring centers, have
Mhm.
student centers where you're going to get people like you and me, students, just like you and me, to sit with you and help you do your homework or the things that you don't understand. That's the second layer of tutoring. And
Mhm.
the third layer of tutoring, if you want to, okay, there are specific programs, like, for example, directed to Latinos through clubs, through organizations, through different type of programs inside the college that actually give you another set of tutoring. So it's 3 layers and sometimes even 4 layers of tutoring. And this is the wonderful thing. There are colleges like Big Bend Community College, for example, that you don't only do your associate's degree. They
Yeah.
connect you with a bachelor's degree at the same spot.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Going to a community, in other words, doing an education of 2 years, but getting a possibility of 4 years for almost the same price or less.
Mhm.
That is an incredible
Much
opportunity.
less.
Please talk to us about that specific, that caught my attention immediately.
Yeah. I think Washington State might be the second leaders in having bachelors of applied science degrees. I mean, some of our community colleges have six
Mhm.
bachelor's programs. This is our first at Big Bend, and it's in applied management, so it applies to an assortment of degrees.
Everything.
So, yeah, to welding, aviation, automotive. I mean, really to any AAS degree. So place-bound students who really just cannot leave their home base, their support system to go to university, have the opportunity to earn a bachelor's degree at their community college campus in their hometowns, and then excel in their current industry. So that was one of the things that became apparent when we were writing this grant, was that industries were saying not only is it hard to recruit folks with a bachelor's degree to our area, but we would really like to promote within, but we need them to have a bachelor's degree, and yet they can't leave the area to go to school. So it just seemed like a win-win.
Mhm.
And Dr. Rapolo, a lot of students that are like thinking, even considering, or just beginning to learn about a community college. And listen, you do a university degree in 2 years
Yeah.
in a community college. I know that a lot of students that are just hearing this for the first time, they don't know.
Oh yeah.
And the best part is that it's not like you do 2 years and then that's a separate thing. We have something that is called a transference program, or called
Mhm.
articulation agreements. And that is, if you do 2 years and then you want to continue, let's say, in Washington, in Big Bend Community College, now you can do an applied bachelor's degree and continue your bachelor's, your 4 year complete university degree, like in our countries, in the same community college.
Yeah.
In New York, in many colleges, we have agreements with other bigger colleges. For example, have you ever dreamed about, I don't know, going to Penn State University, or going to like New York University? I don't know,
Mhm. Mhm.
Columbia University.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if you do 60 credits or 60 something credits in Bronx Community College, the college itself will help you transfer
Yeah.
to another college, and you will have to do just 2 more years, and that will do your full bachelor's degree, or what we consider a full university degree in our countries. Talk
Correct.
to us a little bit about being able to transfer, Dr. Rapalo, please.
Thank you, Lily. Just to give you an idea, at BCC, more than 40% of our students transfer to a four-year institution from within CUNY. Our biggest feeder, because of the proximity, is Lehman College, and we're very happy to work with Peter and the president, the provost of Lehman, and the president, because this articulation and this synergy helps students with the retention, and ultimately to get what you said, save money, do it 2 years at a community college, and then transfer to a four-year institution and get their bachelor degrees. And a lot of them, obviously, they get a lot of scholarship also to other schools, as NYU, as Columbia, Fordham. So the breadth of articulation and synergy among CUNY and within CUNY and for CUNY and also outside of the system is very helpful for students so they can transfer. So I'm glad that you touched that topic, because it's important. A lot of the students actually end up leaving or transfer, in this case, to Lehman, because of the proximities and the relationship that we have with Lehman. It's very powerful. We also have what we call BTAG, and basically we also have, it's the same concept with other colleges. These colleges include Hostos Community College, Godman Community College, obviously BCC and Lehman, and we're very happy and thrilled to work with them in this partnership.
Wonderful. And now we're going to talk about a community that generally doesn't think that college is an opportunity, because also the demographics have been changing in our entire United States of America. In the past, typically and traditionally, it was high school students who naturally went to colleges and continued their education to colleges. The reality for the 21st century is that there are more 25 plus years and older, the ones that are actually enrolling in college. And those are the students that have a greater possibility to actually graduate, because they're a more mature community. They're paying for the classes. In many instances, if they're immigrants, they're undocumented and paying cash, paying out of pocket, so they don't want to waste their money, and they're making an investment. They know that it's a time frame that they need to finish, so it's a good opportunity. So I know for our family, for our Latino, Hispanic families that are here, that you're telling your kid that is going to high school, oh, now you got to go to college. You heard Lily and Dr. Rapalo and Tammy? They say that there's money over there for Hispanics, so now you're going to college. Oh, that is nice. And how about you? Because you're telling your kid, or you're telling your almost graduate son or daughter from high school that they need to go to college, but college in the United States is not for high school students only, my dear friend. So if you actually came to the United States and you have a high school diploma, and if you don't have, don't worry, because we have programs in the different high schools and then the different public libraries and centers where we can actually help you finish your high school. Because whether you're 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, and let me tell you something, I had the pleasure to graduate with one of my colleagues and classmates, which was 72 years old. Why did she study at that point? Because she wanted to be a senior with an education, period. So what I'm saying is, community colleges and colleges not only for your kids, it's also for you. And this money is for Title V. It's not only for high school graduates, it's for everybody. Even if you want to learn English, and even if you want to learn English and get a degree in 2 years, you can do it. And I know it's going to be a sacrifice, but I tell you what, 2 years go like that. And it's going to be a sacrifice. It's going to take hard work. But after you finish it, trust me, because I did it. I only knew how to say 3 words in English when I came to the United States. Yes, no, and I don't know. And I said 3 because I didn't know that I don't know was actually 2 words. I thought it was 1. Okay? Yes, no, and I don't know. And I went to a community college. I was making, at the beginning, $3.75 an hour because I was working in a factory. Then I started making $5.75. And then I heard my co-workers that if you speak a little bit of English, they'll pay you $6. And that is the reason why I went to a community college to learn English, because I wanted to make $6 an hour. And guess what happened to me, ladies and gentlemen? I learned English, and I finished a college degree in 2 years. And guess what? My first job offer at that time, after graduated, like immediately, $20 per hour. I
Wow.
almost die. I almost die when I received a phone call and they say, listen, like you're very involved, we would like to hire you like for our admissions department and or whatever. And the only problem is that we can just pay you $20 an hour. I was like, of course, I didn't say it. I was on the phone. At that time, there was no like Facebook or anything like
Yeah.
that. Never in my life I had imagined that I would make $20 an hour.
Yeah.
And I
It changed
and I
lives.
and then I wonder, why are they paying me this much? Wait a minute, there's something fishy here. There's something strange. They're trying to do something to me, because why are they paying me that much money? And then I understood. They were paying me because I had already a college education and I spoke 2 languages.
Mm.
I was able to communicate in English, but I was also able to communicate in Spanish. So imagine you doing a 2 year program, a 2 year college degree,
Yeah.
and also speaking English and Spanish and being able to work in both markets. Imagine the opportunities that you're gonna have. That's why if you're 25, if you're a mother, if you're a single mother, I know it's gonna be hard. But trust me, if you're capable of buying those smartphones that cost you $1,000, that's practically 2 classes in college.
It's true.
Okay? In a community college. So if you can pay your phone, you can pay your classes. Don't play with me. Stop doing the birthday for Juanito, Pepito, and whatever, and spending $2,500, $3,000 to celebrate a ridiculous birthday. Spend that money on you and get a college degree, and then you celebrate an incredible birthday once you graduate. Give them whatever they want. I think that that's a reality that we need to talk. We need to talk to more adults that are the parents of the high schools, because they need to be invited to enroll in these programs too.
Yeah. I agree. Absolutely. It's true. It's true.
It is.
Tammy, programs for 25 and plus, what is the possibilities over there in Big Bend Community College?
We have a very large population of dual enrollment students, but the majority of our population is the non-traditional student. And also, we developed the BAS program for those working adults, those
Wait a
non-traditional
minute.
adults.
Did you just say that most of your students are adults?
Yeah.
Okay, people, you're hearing it from Washington all the way over there, like in the other side of Seattle. More adults are going to that community college than actually high school kids. What is the reality in your state, Dr. Rapalo?
Same here. We're very happy to cater to a very diverse student demographic, and as a matter of fact, our new dean of workforce development, Dr. Carla Renee Williams, we're working right now with Fortune 500 companies to make sure that we can create what we call it, programs that can help students to obtain jobs right after the college. So for example, one of the initiatives that we have in New York City is to help students for those students that they do not want to continue to get their bachelor degrees or associate degree, they can obviously get their certificates and get real jobs, with certificates. And we're looking at when I say real job, I know some people are very questionable, but the jobs, the NYU jobs console that is established due to the pandemic, it's guaranteed to launch 200,000 jobs within the New York metro area, and these jobs have an average income of $70,000. So it sounds very promising. I mean, companies such as Amazon, AT&T, JP Morgan, Chase are devoted to help CUNY and New York City and our students to make sure that they can get those jobs that we know and Tammy know that change people's lives.
Well, we've been speaking for almost an hour and 17 minutes, and soon we have to finish. I know you have to work very early, probably the two of you. Probably me too, but it doesn't matter. I'm used to like doing my espresso cafe, and that's not a problem. I would like to give you a couple minutes to kind of talk to your particular communities and invite them to enroll. I'm talking about specifically our Hispanic communities in Title V. Before you do that, of course, I have to greet and acknowledge our sponsors. And if you give me and allow me a couple minutes, I will do that. Mr. Shabert, if you're ready with some of the pictures, humbly, this is a platform that is an independent platform. A lot of people sees official people, non-official people, and especially you, beautiful immigrant community of the entire United States in 24 different countries. Thank you for encouraging us. And thank you to our supporters, to Bisonos Art, who is always there with eco-friendly arts exhibits and designs and installations. They make wonderful wearable designs that are made out of recyclables, and they look wonderful. You got to see the purses made out of reutilized materials. They are fantastic. So thank you to Bisonos Art. Our next sponsor is our Unipan. And Unipan are two community college art student graduates who moved on to their bachelor's degree and actually started making these unique art earrings, different type of jewelry types. They do bottles, they do coasters, and they are unique designs because they are the designs that are fit for you. They're tailor-made for you and your likes. So to Unipan, if you're interested of purchasing something unique, Unipan is there for you. Christmas is coming, ladies and gentlemen. So it's a good opportunity to check out their products. Their information is also in our website. Our friend and abogada, Ingrid Echeverria, who is always supporting our Latino community around West New York, around the offices. She has multiple offices that you can call. Abogada for immigration issues, deportation issues, divorce, family cases, civil law, for questions about even education. She can assist you with your legal question here in the state of New Jersey. So thank you, Dr. Ingrid Echeverria. I want to mention also to my great friend, a lawyer. He is also in East Hanover. Our great friend Flavio Baumbuckle, a great lawyer, one of the best 100 litigating lawyers in the state of New Jersey. Thank you for being part of this incredible initiative too. And thanks to all of our friends that are guidance counselors that are seeing us right now, people from other countries that are mayors of cities who are asking me, how do I send our students to your colleges over there because they want to have the New York experience, or they want to travel to Washington. They want to listen, we can connect you and we can connect you and you can connect directly with all these people that are investing their time. And these are very, very important people that are coming to this channel that you have a respect for, and they're talking to you directly. This is not for me. This is for you. Okay. So thank you so much to all of our sponsors. And if you're interested in on sponsoring this channel, okay, which is an independent channel, you want to donate $5, $10, $20, $1,000, there is a GoFund somewhere that you can assist. Or if you want us to actually do your videos, we also have a production company that can do it for those businesses that are beginning, and we can help you do your video production and like have commercials so that you can post it on your Facebook, your YouTube, etc., etc. So thank you for that. I want to thank my production team, Herbert Chavert, and everybody that is behind this Educarte. It's not me. I'm just the pretty face of this thing. Okay. Behind me, there are other people that intellectually are getting prepared for that. And now we go back to our guests. I wanna, of course, you take a couple minutes so that you can invite your specific communities, and especially invite the international community that is already coming or it's intending to come to our states. And we're gonna begin once again. This time I'm gonna begin with the gentleman, Dr. Rapolo.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Tommy. Yes, I want to encourage our Latinos and or Hispanic familia to come to obviously New York, BCC, Bronx Community College in CUNY. We welcome you with our open arms. We have the exceptional professors, staff, faculty, leaders that are committed to your success. I always say this: your success is our success, and we want to make sure to help you in any way, shape, or form that will help you to change your life, the family, your family, and we have a lot of programs for you at BCC, and programs that will help you to pay for your college, programs that will help you to continue to a 4-year institution, whether you are from Honduras, Chile, Colombia, Puerto Rico, Mexico, whatever your background, Africa. We committed to help you, and we have exceptional programs that will help you to change your life and the life of your family. So come join us at BCC, and we look forward to seeing you. You can find information on the website. You can shoot me an email. I'm sure Lily will share my contact information.
It's already done.
Thank you, Lily. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And if I don't know, I always say this: if I don't know the answer, I'm not I'm not your provost, or I'm not your VP. So shoot me an email, and I'm here to help you. Okay, and guide you through the process.
And let me also make a clarification. Bronx Community College doesn't only have Title V that benefits Hispanics. They also have programs for African Americans, for our students that are white, for our Asian Pacific Islanders. As a matter of fact, 61% of Bronx Community College is Hispanic, but 33% is African American. So if you are watching me and you're one of my students, my English students, my composition students, hello, Bronx Community College has also great funds, financial aid, grants, scholarships for African Americans. For our students that are white, 3%. Hey, we are building community, and we're learning from our diversity and how strong we're becoming. How strong we're becoming by especially knowing our differences and learning how to have our own opinions, but in a communal way. What an incredible opportunity. And we also have 4% of Asian Pacific Islanders. Imagine, people that are coming from the Pacific Islands are also welcome in Bronx Community College, and we also have grants and opportunities for you. And I am sure that Big Bend Community College has also the same invitation. Tammy, it is your turn.
Yeah, please come to Washington. Our Big Bend Community College has 42% of our students are Hispanic, and 75% are the first in their families to attend college. And that same percentage receive financial aid. We also have funding for students who are undocumented students, and you can receive state aid. But what we really want is for students to come to college, and we will match you with someone who can walk alongside you and help you navigate the system. We have great student supports. It is something we take a lot of pride in and always are expanding. So there's a place for you, and we would welcome you at Big Bend Community College.
Thank you so much for that invitation. And what can I tell you, my dear friends in the community? Washington State is a great state because it has opportunities for everybody, and especially with this Title V, along with other programs, can become a more friendly state for those families that are seeking places where they will have opportunities. And the same thing is here in New York City or in New Jersey. There are community colleges, and many community colleges have the programs that will teach you English. So, si no habla inglés, no se preocupe. Puede aprender inglés en los community colleges y también hacer una carrera universitaria en 2 años. So, they will teach you English, and they will give you a college degree so that you can improve your opportunities. And that happens in Washington State, and it happens in New York, and it happens in New Jersey and in other states. The only thing that you have to do is inform yourself. And I want to finish today by reading something that I've been actually handling this past day, which is from our good friend Paulo Freire. On his book Pedagogy of the Oppressed, he evolved a theory for education of people who are illiterate, especially adults, based on the conviction that every human being, no matter how ignorant or submerged in culture silence, is capable of looking critically at the world in a dialogical encounter with others. Provided with the proper tools for such an encounter, the individual can gradually perceive his or her personal and social reality and deal critical with it. When an illiterate peasant participates in this sort of educational experience, he or she comes to a new awareness of self, a new sense of dignity. I now realize I am a person, an educated person. We were blind, now our eyes have been opened. And I want to tell you as a personal testimony, when I came here to the United States of America with 3 words of English, I was completely ignorant and illiterate. And don't consider the word illiterate a bad word. I was just not literated on the concepts of things that will get me to be successful in the United States. And I was able to push myself and learn English and go to college. And I got an education. And all of a sudden, I understood that there are cultures that are different, but there are similarities. And that there was something important among those similarities. And one of them is that we all care to acquire a tool that will improve the quality of our lives. And I promise you, because I've done it for myself, and look at Dr. Rappel, and look at Tammy, and look at so many people that have educated themselves. Our life have improved because education has become a tool of work, a tool of improvement. You see the world from a totally different perspective. And I promise you, that cultural silence, that almost isolation that you have because you cannot talk to anybody about who you are, who your identity is, will come out by means of educating yourself and being able to express your opinion. That's why education is so important. It's transformative. It transforms everything. So with this, I would say such transcendental words from Paulo Freire, not from me. I want to finish this program thanking Miss Tammy, and I'm sorry once again. I'm going to destroy your last name, Tammy Napion Tech. Please say it for me once again so that students can hear it.
It's Tammy Napionic.
Tammy Napionic. Tammy Napionic, Director of Tittle V programs there at Big Bend Community College in the state of Washington in the East. So look for Gloss Lake over there in Washington, and you'll find Tammy in Big Bend Community College. And I want to thank you so much for having the incredible generosity of being this long, talking to us and talking to our community. Hopefully it's not the last time that we have you so that we can establish this conversation. And I want to send like a challenge to you that we do an educational fair completely on remote through the channel so that more people can learn more stuff, not only about Title V, but about other opportunities that we could have.
Yes, I think that would be fantastic. And frankly, one of the positives that will come out of COVID.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. And Dr. Rapalo.
I think he had to leave.
Okay, no problem. So, Tammy, I'll just let you a couple minutes to just say goodbye. And thank you so much for your kindness and your generosity. Dr. Rapalo, thank you so much for being here. I know that you're always there for us. Tammy, the microphones are yours just to say goodbye to our community. And I promise you that today some people will see the program, and tomorrow more and more and more. And that's how this thing works.
Yeah, Lily, thank you for inviting me. I had a fantastic time, and I hope you'll invite me again. This is something that I hadn't really considered, hadn't really thought about reaching out to the Hispanic community, far and wide, nationwide, and beyond. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and so grateful, so grateful. I hope you'll invite me again.
Well, no, thank you very much. And I cannot take credit at all for this conversation with you. I have to actually give credit to also the candidate to doctorate, our future Dr. Judy Bisono, because in our conversations, in our very heated conversations about our immigrant community, of our ESL community, of our Hispanic communities and African Americans and our college community, your name came immediately because she spoke the wonders that was happening over there in Big Bend Community College because of your leadership. So thank you so much for attending my call, accepting this weird invitation to like appear on this platform that nobody knows but everybody knows about. And I hope that we can keep on sharing and we can keep on coming. And my commitment and my challenge this year is to organize these remote educational fairs so that we can all have these very essential conversations. Thank you, Tammy, so much. And I'm sure that we will be talking soon.
Great. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Y a ustedes, amigos, to you all, thank you so much for watching us as every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday you do at 9 o'clock. I know it's late, but this program was tremendously important for all of us, and especially I hope that it was important for all of you. Muchísimas gracias a quienes nos ven desde lejos. Les prometemos que las traducciones vendrán no tan solo en el formato live, que ustedes van a ver seguramente después de que ya publiquemos este, sino que también en YouTube, que tenemos también Educarte Plus en YouTube. Me voy a encargar de poner las traducciones y les prometo para el martes, una sinopsis, un resumen de todo lo importante que conversamos con Tamina Pionek y con el Dr. Rapalo de Big Bend Community College allá en el estado de Washington y con el Dr. Rapalo acá cerca en el Bronx Community College en la ciudad de Nueva York. Así que muchísimas gracias a todos. Thank you so much for watching this evening. Good night, and we'll see you next time en Mira la Noticia. Buenas noches.
Tania y Nadeska Beauty Salon es el referente de glamour latino en Newark. Estilistas reconocidas ofrecen servicios de corte, color y peinado. Trato completamente individualizado para cada cliente. Métodos de visión única de las propiedades naturales de tu pelo. También contamos con exclusivos productos y líneas de alta calidad y de marcas ganadoras internacionales. Aquí tú eres una auténtica estrella. Tania y Nadeska Beauty Salon. Belleza para tus 5 sentidos.
Consolidada como una de las empresas más influyentes del mercado, K&G Agency Solutions te ofrece todas las alternativas que necesitas para empezar tu propio negocio.
K&G Agency Solutions tiene el asesoramiento de coaching empresarial para satisfacer las necesidades de tus sueños de negocios, desde cómo empezar tu negocio hasta la gestión y el desarrollo del capital humano. Aquí tienes exactamente lo que necesitas para hacer tu negocio una realidad. K&G te da la funcionalidad integrada y las soluciones para que empieces ya a tener éxito.